The United States of America, the richest country in the history of civilization, the land that put a man on the moon, invented the internet, and produces more elite professional athletes per capita than almost anywhere on Earth. And yet, in the most watched sporting event on the planet, the one that stops an entire world every 4 years, the U.S. has never even made it to the final, not once, in 94 years of trying. If you are American and you are just getting into soccer, this is the first thing you need to understand. Not as an insult, not as a joke, but as the most interesting unsolved puzzle in world sports. In this video, I'm going to break it all the way down, why it happened, why it kept happening for nearly a century, and why the 2026 World Cup, happening right here in the United States, is genuinely different from anything that came before. Let us start with something that might surprise you. Most Americans assume their country is a complete newcomer to soccer, like the sport barely exists here. And the World Cup is something other nations have been running without us. That is not quite right. The United States has actually qualified for the World Cup 11 times, and in the very first World Cup held in 1930, the U.S. finished third in the entire world. We were actually good, and then something changed. Between 1950 and 1990, 40 years, the United States qualified only once in 4 decades. While Brazil won the World Cup 3 times and Germany won it twice, and England lifted the trophy for their one and only time. In 1966, American soccer essentially fell off the map. The sport was not taken seriously here. The money went to football, basketball, and baseball. The best athletes followed the scholarships and the professional leagues. Soccer got left behind, but here's the part that really gets you. In 1950, the United States pulled off one of the greatest upsets in the history of any sport. They beat England, the country that literally invented the game of soccer. Considered massive favorites, the Americans won 1-0 with a goal from a part-time dishwasher named Joe Gaetjens. The English press initially thought the final score was a typo. When it came in over the wire, it made front pages around the world, and in the United States, almost nobody noticed. That is the American relationship with soccer summarized in one story. We have had moments, we have had players, we have had results that shocked the entire planet, and the country was not watching it. So why has the U.S. never broken through and actually competed for the title? The answer comes down to 4 things, and they all connect. First, the system. In every great soccer nation, Brazil, Argentina, Germany, Spain, the path to becoming a professional player starts when you're 6 or 7 years old. A club academy spots you, takes you in, trains and develops you, and if you're good enough, turns you professional by the time you're 17 or 18. It costs your family nothing. The club invests in you because you might be worth millions to them one day. In the United States, that system did not exist for most of the 20th century. If you wanted to play high-level youth soccer, your parents paid for it. Expensive travel teams, private coaching, tournament registration fees, which means the kids who made it were not necessarily the most talented. They were the most financially supported. A generation of potentially world-class players grew up playing football or basketball instead, not because they could not play soccer, but because that was where the free pathway was. Second, competition for talent. Think about the most athletically gifted kids in America right now. The ones who run faster, jump higher, and react quicker than everyone around them. Where do they end up? The NFL gets there first, then the NBA, then baseball. Soccer is competing for what is left, not because Americans cannot play at the highest level, but because every other sport set up a better pathway and arrived first. A kid who might have been a generational soccer talent became an NFL wide receiver instead. That is a leak in the pipeline that Brazil and Argentina simply do not have. Third, the league. For decades, the top American players who wanted to develop had a fundamental problem. Major League Soccer was not competitive enough. The gap between MLS and the top European leagues, England's Premier League, Spain's La Liga, Germany's Bundesliga, was enormous. When you play at a lower level for long enough, you stop developing fast enough to compete with players who have been in elite environments since they were teenagers. MLS has improved dramatically in recent years, but for a long time, staying in MLS instead of pushing to Europe was a step backward. Fourth, culture. This is the invisible one. In Brazil, soccer is more than a sport. It is identity. It is something kids do in the street because there is nothing else, and because the whole country is watching. In Argentina, missing a penalty in a World Cup is a national crisis. That emotional weight creates a pressure that sharpens players in ways that cannot be coached. American sports culture does this with football. You feel it on a Friday night in a high school stadium. That depth of obsession, that cultural gravity. Soccer in America has been building slowly, but it has not been there at the same level. Not yet now. Here is where 2026 changes everything. Genuinely, factually, measurably, changes everything. Not just optimism, not just hype, different. This generation of American players is unlike any that came before. Christian Pulisic plays for AC Milan, one of the most storied clubs in the world. He was the first American in history to win the UEFA Champions League, the biggest club competition in soccer. He is 27 years old, and he is not alone. Gio Reyna plays in Germany's top league. Weston McKennie has played in Italy, Spain, and England. Matt Turner plays in England's Premier League. Tyler Adams captained a Premier League club. These players did not wait for the American system to catch up. They went to Europe as teenagers, competed for spots in the best academies in the world, and made it. And right now, they are at the peak of their careers. For the first time in American soccer history, the national team's best players are genuinely comparable. Not just adequate, genuinely comparable to their counterparts from the world's top nations. Its second difference, home advantage. The 2026 World Cup is being played across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The venues include New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, Miami, Seattle, Kansas City, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Atlanta, Houston, and Boston. American fans will show up in numbers that no visiting country can match. The energy in those stadiums is going to be unlike anything the U.S. team has ever played in. And in soccer, home advantage is statistically real. Nations that host the World Cup advance out of the group stage at dramatically higher rates than visiting countries. Third difference, the format. For the first time ever, the 2026 World Cup features 48 teams instead of 32. Teams compete in groups of 3. The top team from each group advances. The second-place teams advance. The best to third-place finishers across all 16 groups also advance. The margin for error is slightly wider than before. For a team that can run hot in a short-format tournament environment, and the United States has always been capable of that, the extra path matters. Fourth difference, the cultural moment. Something is genuinely shifting. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar generated the highest U.S. television viewership ever recorded for a World Cup match. 26 million Americans watched the United States versus Netherlands game, more than watched most NBA finals. Young Americans are paying for Premier League streaming subscriptions. They are watching Champions League football on weekday nights. The appetite is building in a way it simply was not before. And when the tournament arrives in your own cities, in your own stadiums, with your own team competing, that tipping point might finally happen. Now, let me explain how the tournament actually works, because if you are brand new to this, the format is not immediately obvious. 48 teams enter. They are placed into 16 groups of 3 teams each. Every team plays the other 2 in their group. After those 2 games per team, the top team from each group advances. The second-place teams advance, and the best 8 third-place finishers across all 16 groups advance as well. That brings 32 teams into the knockout rounds, and from there it is pure elimination. Win or go home. Round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals with 8 teams, semifinals with 4, a third-place match, and then the final. The whole tournament runs from June 11th through July 19th. For 6 weeks, it is the only thing in world sports. Multiple matches every single day, major storylines every morning. If you have never followed a World Cup before, this is the one to start with. The teams to watch going in, Brazil and France, are the strongest favorites heading into the tournament. Brazil plays an attacking style of soccer that makes every other team look mechanical. France won in 2018 and came within 1 penalty of winning again in 2022. Argentina are the defending champions. England has not won since 1966, and the pressure on them never goes away. Germany are rebuilding with a talented young squad. Spain are technically brilliant. Every one of those teams has players capable of beating anyone on any given day. The United States enters with a genuine chance of advancing deep into the knockout rounds. Whether they can go all the way is honestly uncertain. The competition at this level always is. But for the first time in 94 years, the question feels real. The reason the United States has never won the World Cup is not talent, it is not the athletes, it is systems and time. Systems that have finally started producing world-class players, and time, a very long time, that has finally built the generation ready to compete. Subscribe to Nil to Hero. If you want to understand every part of this tournament as it happens, we are going to cover everything: the players, the matches, the stories, the moments. New video every week, and drop a comment below. What is the one thing about soccer that still confuses you? I will answer it in the next video.